Today, both Democrats and Republicans are doubling down on pressure that the president to release his tax returns more than 2 years after he took office. Now, the Democrats have been making this push since the 2016 campaign. We still have not seen those tax returns, and based on the president's remarks last night, it doesn't seem like he'll be cooperating anytime soon.
Well, usually it's 10, so I guess they're giving up. Now, we're under audit. Despite what people said, I'm always under audit, it seems, but I've been under audit for many years because the numbers are big, and I guess when you have a name, you're audited. But until such time as I'm not under audit, I would not be inclined to do that.
We've covered a lot of audits in our careers.
This would be the longest audit in the history of the Internal Revenue System.
Yeah.
All right, and there is a chance we might not ever get to see his taxes because his very own Treasury Secretary, Steven Mnuchin, he didn't think it was a big deal either.
If you decide in the future to deliver this, we will receive it. I can't speculate on the request until I see it. We will follow the law, and we will protect the president as we would protect any individual taxpayer under their rights.
Joining us now, tax policy reporter for the Wall Street Journal, Richard Rubin. Richard, the president has been telling us for quite some time that he's under audit.
Which, by the way, would not actually prevent him from turning over his taxes. There's no such rule.
Okay, so to that point, let's say he is under audit, but now he's gotten this letter from Ways and Means. What happens?
So the important thing here is the letter didn't go to the president. The letter went to the IRS Commissioner Charles Rettig. And what the letter is from Ways and Means Chairman Richard Neal, and it invokes a section of the tax code that says, upon written request from the Ways and Means Chairman to the Treasury Department and IRS, the administration must turn over, shall furnish is the term in the law, any tax return information of any taxpayer. So this is separate from the president voluntarily releasing. This is Congress using its authority under the law to request this information.
So let me ask you a couple questions. Is there any way to determine for the Ways and Means Committee or anybody else to determine whether the president is under audit, or is that not information that they can have? And again, to be clear, if the president is under, he lies so much that you can't tell, but if he were under audit, would that prevent him from handing his taxes over?
Okay, so he is under audit for sure for the years, or was under audit for the years in which he was president. There is an IRS procedure that says the president gets audited mandatorily. That's just, it's an IRS, it's not a law, it's just an IRS rule. And part of what Chairman Neal's doing here is trying to assess whether the IRS is complying with that. For years before that, before he was president, the president and his lawyers have said he's under audit. We don't know for sure. One of the things that the chairman's letter asks for is, for the past 6 years, from 2013 through 2018, whether in fact there was an audit, and then ask for all the paperwork of that audit. There's nothing that prevents, the audit is irrelevant really to whether the president will turn this over, whether the Treasury Secretary will turn this over.
It's irrelevant, but it's a perfect excuse, or it's an excuse enough in the court of public opinion. In terms of legally...
Until the public understands that it's not actually an excuse, right?
Well, sure. This is the court of public opinion, and what stands up under in a court are two different things, of course. So he's made this point about an audit, and sure, if you were his tax lawyer, you wouldn't want all of his information out there while you were negotiating and arguing with the IRS. There's a good sort of tax reason why you wouldn't necessarily want to do that, have your client do that. But he's not any typical client, and so this is sort of beyond what audits existed and whether that's an excuse or not. This is now moving into a different phase, really, about this formal request under the tax code, and then whether the administration, Secretary Mnuchin and Commissioner Rettig, comply with that.
Hey, MSNBC fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there, and click on any of the videos here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. You can get more MSNBC for free every day with our newsletters. Just visit msnbc.com/newsletters to sign up now.